And welcome to another edition of Visit Las Cruces Live, the real New Mexico podcast. I'm your host, Ed Carnathan, and we're going to take a look at a lot of things about the Las Cruces area, events coming up, fun things to do, businesses to check out, and a whole lot more. You can get your podcast on most podcast apps. You could also listen at visitlascruces.com. Our guest this week, Aaron Valenzuela. Aaron, thank you so much. Adam Bomb Studios, also co-artist, co-author of the mural that's on our building outside. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Now, Aaron, we had your wife on Onahang, and she came on and we talked about the mural that we had on the side of the building, and we talked about the little tienda. La Tiendita.
Yes,
there we go. Thank you. And talked about that. But let's talk about the Adam Bomb Studio. You guys have had that for how long now?
Well, Adam Bomb Studio has been around for about 12 years now.
Great.
Yeah, we've been pretty much in the same location for all 12 years, down on the corner of Las Cruces and Campos.
Yeah, downtown Las Cruces.
Yeah.
Very popular tattoo shop, from what I hear.
Yeah,
I've heard that many times.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Keeps you guys busy.
Yeah, well, we work really hard, to make sure that everybody has a really good experience at the shop. So hopefully that helps us stand out from the rest,
Sure. Now, do you guys specialize in a certain thing, or do you pretty much just have your artistic brush everywhere?
Kind of that last
needle,
part.
your artistic needle.
The needle, yeah. I think we all there's things that all of us prefer to do for sure, but kind of across the board, we try and specialize in custom tattoos.
Right, sure.
I'd love to tattoo watercolor, comic book stuff, but I also like doing black and gray portraits. So It's kind of whatever the client is needing, we find the right artist to fit that client.
And someone might say, hey, Ed, why are you talking about a tattoo shop? But tattooing is a touristy type thing. People will make a trip to absolutely come in and see you guys.
No, actually, this Sunday I have a gentleman coming from Fort Worth, Texas to get tattooed.
Yeah.
And I've had people come in from Hawaii, Baltimore, all over, people travel down from Albuquerque to get tattooed. So, yeah, I absolutely think that it's a touristy thing because I think people get excited. Oh, I want to memorialize this trip with a tattoo. Well, great. We're there to take care of you,
How do you guys get the word out about what you do in your shop and everything?
So for us, I think a big part of what we do is word of mouth.
Yeah.
So much of our clientele comes in from the fact that people see our work out in the wild, I like to say.
Yeah.
They like to see it out in the wild. And then they ask, people are a little more forward these days about tattooing, so they'll ask, hey, where did you get your tattoo? Mm-hmm. And so our word of mouth is invaluable. But also, I would say a lot of Google, we do a lot of social media, as much as we can. But I definitely think Google itself has really helped to drive a lot of business to us, and at least in our experience that we've noticed, when we ask people when they come in, how'd you find out about us? Oh, we Googled you.
Yeah.
We Googled tattoo shops and you guys came up.
Yeah.
It's okay, awesome, thank you, I appreciate it.
How many artists do you guys have in the store?
Right now we're about to have 4. Our apprentice is about to take his kind of exit exam, if you will, through the state, and then he'll be raring and ready to go. He's been doing a really good job. Shout out to Mikey. And then we got Chris, Chris has been with us for probably 8 or 9 years now, but he's been tattooing full time with us for about 3 years.
Yeah.
So it's been really cool. Then of course my wife Anahi, she's a full-time artist, myself. And then, we are always open for traveling artists. We call it guest artists, to come in from different places around the country, hopefully around the world coming up. We're trying to make connections across the seas and bring that talent or those artists to our little neck of the woods, because I've always been very Las Cruces forward. We've had opportunities several times to move and go to bigger cities. That's not at all what I'm interested in doing.
Right.
I like where I'm from. I love representing our city. So anytime we get the ability to do that, that's what we're doing when we travel. The Z is on everything, because I want people to know that we're from New Mexico.
Yeah.
So it's been a lot of fun. So 4 artists, maybe 5 or 6 coming up.
Yeah.
We'll see. It's all about who has the good energy. You could be a great artist, but I want your energy to be great, you know?
You know, you guys did a tremendous job on the mural outside the building, and that was all New Mexico and Las Cruces centric, lots of symbols and different things about our area. Do people come in and say, I want a Las Cruces tattoo?
I wouldn't say necessarily a Las Cruces tattoo so much as they want a New Mexico tattoo or something to represent being in the area, you know? So it could be the mountains, it could be a cactus, a roadrunner, a quail.
The Zia.
You know, the Zia for sure is a very popular one. And I think that definitely people wanting to get New Mexico tattoos, it makes it fun because I love tattooing New Mexico tattoos. You know, like a lot of the times when you see any of our public art, it has a lot to do with New Mexico, and people sometimes will say, oh, well, you know, you're just doing the stuff that, you know, everybody is. It's like, no, I actually like to draw this on my own, or I like to paint these things on my own a lot of the time. Just, it's stuff I see, you know. I love looking at the mountains. Like growing up, the mountains has always been.
That's you know, that's always one of our biggest parts of our marketing is the mountains. The mountains usually is in a bunch of different things.
And it makes sense. They're so prevalent.
Right.
You see them like almost everywhere you go. You can't escape them. And they're beautiful. They're not, you know, no shade to any other mountains out there. I'm not throwing any shade to any other mountain ranges out there. All right. But I do happen to believe that ours are very aesthetically pleasing.
Oh, they are.
You know,
Absolutely.
they just look cool. To draw them and to paint them is a blast. I never say I don't want to do that when it comes to doing the Oregon Mountains. I'm like, okay, let's figure out a way to make it unique for you. You know.
What's been your most popular design that you've done? Maybe you've done it many times over, or
I'll be honest. Probably I tattooed roses. You know, from the beginning of my career to today at the shop, I'll probably end up tattooing a rose. Roses are probably the most iconic image, you know, across the board. And you can do them so many different ways. I have no issues tattooing them ever. But I would say if I'm going for like what's the most I've ever done, period, is probably Zia symbols.
Zia symbols.
Zia symbols for sure are probably the ones that I tattooed the most. We did a charity fundraiser, and I remember just that day alone, I tattooed it. It had to be at least 30 or 40 Zia symbols.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and I love, like I said, I love doing them. It lets people know, like, you were at least at one point in New Mexico.
Right.
Like, New Mexico meant something to you at some point in your life, enough to get it memorialized, and that's cool.
Yeah, to get a tattoo, you have to absolutely love it, right? Because it's with you for the rest of your life.
Yeah, you know, it's not like, you know, a new pair of shoes you can just, you know, change out. No, this thing is with you forever, you know.
Now, when you guys are coming up with maybe new designs or whatever it might be, you're drawing it first, right? You're going pen to paper or something like that.
Absolutely. I mean, now digital, you know, people drawing on the iPad is super prevalent. And I don't get me wrong, I do it. I use the iPad. It's a fantastic tool. But I really appreciate putting pencil or pen to paper and getting my initial layouts or my initial sketches down on there, and then I'll take a picture with my iPad and really clean it up. And now I have access to all the tools that I can, you know, take a design from being more flat to really being, you know, something I can present to a new client for a tattoo or a mural or whatever it is that we're working on for somebody. You know, we do a lot of stuff, so it makes it fun. But yeah, it always starts with the sketch. I have so many sketchbooks full of garbage. And then there's that one pearl, you know. You open that sketchbook and it's like,
So I imagine you guys have like books inside the store, and you have people look at different designs and stuff.
So since COVID, we haven't really had a lot of physical things for people to, you know, to handle, just for safety reasons, you know, like the internet exists and everybody has a computer in their pocket. So I always tell people, look for references. Don't look for the tattoo or the thing you want. Look for something, maybe 3 or 4 pictures that have elements of what you want. And then let us, the artist, put that together in a way that's unique for you. Because if you Googled it or somebody else might have Googled the same thing, there's a chance that you're going to have the same tattoo as somebody else, or you're going to have the same image or design. That's not what you want especially when you're looking for a tattoo. You want it to be you, you know, unless the purpose of the tattoo is to match somebody else. In which case, okay, awesome. But if you're looking for a custom tattoo or an original tattoo, the last thing you want to do is ask for specific, very a very specific image for a tattoo, because that means somebody else also has that very specific image probably as well, you know?
So we talked about, me and your wife, when we had her on, about the mural. She talked about tattoo conventions.
Yes.
So you guys attend those all over the country? And
we love doing them. They're everywhere. Right. You know, right now they're all over, and there's more and more popping up. And we're fortunate enough to be sponsored by a supply company, Higher Level Tattoo Supply. I also just recently got sponsored by an ink company, Sacred Ink. Very excited about that, because it affords us the opportunity to travel to places that we're not normally or maybe even aware of.
Right.
You know, we get to go, we get to take our brand of art, our aesthetic of art to all these different places. And kind of, and like I said before, you know, the Z is on everything. You know, it's in our logo, you know, for our shop, because we really want to represent our state. And so it really helps us get ourselves out there, but also make people aware of us, where we're at. Where are you guys from? We're from Las Cruces, New Mexico. Look us up, you know? Yeah.
Now, is that something that we can have here?
Yes.
You know, as somebody who wants to bring people to Las Cruces.
So I don't want to divulge too much, but it has been in talks. We're hoping that we can put something together to do an event like that here.
Wow, wonderful.
Because I think that Las Cruces is prime for it. It's a beautiful place. So many people, you know, that we talk to on the road, they're like, you guys go hiking? And while I personally don't necessarily go hiking all the time, I know that it's a big attraction out here. I know that there are trails. So many my little brother will tell me about all these places he goes, and I'm like, where's that? He's like, dude, it's right there. And I'm like, oh my God. Okay, that's cool. Because it helps me inform people that want to come here, like, oh, you like that? Hey, there's this going on. Yeah, exactly. Because I like to think of myself as a more positive person. Just because I don't necessarily enjoy a specific activity doesn't mean somebody else doesn't. And why shouldn't I try and help somebody find something they like, you know? When I'm sitting in a tattoo chair with somebody for 5-6 hours a day, you run the gamut of conversations sometimes, and so things like that'll come up. And especially like we were saying, like our out-of-town clients, they ask all those questions. What's there to do around here? So I love having that, you know, wealth of knowledge to give out.
Well, you're going to spend some quality time with them for a little bit, right? It just doesn't take 5 or 6 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you know, you're gonna talk, and you're gonna inform them about things and let them know.
Yeah, as much as I can, always, you know. Why not? I think just information sharing is fantastic. I don't like to be a gatekeeper type of person with information or any part of it. I want people to grow. I want the city to grow. The only way that our city will continue to thrive is if we push ourselves to thrive, you know. And I love, you know, remaining things in the past and the historical bit of everything, but I also like having our eyes on the future, because I don't want our city to fall behind. You know, I don't want us to be left in the dust, because I think we have so much to offer.
Well, hey, when it comes time to start putting pen to paper and start planning a tattoo convention here in Las Cruces, you let us know.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what we do, right? We help people bring events to town. We help people with sports. We help people with outdoor rec. We help people with conventions.
So Visit Las Cruces is on the top of the people that we're contacting to make this particular thing happen, because I feel like you guys have done such an amazing job. Like, I mean, just look at the Las Cruces event. It's been phenomenal, and you guys have only done it 2 years in a row. You know, this year was the second year, and everybody has a good time, and it's such a cool thing to see. So I would love to bring that kind of quality to an event, you know, for tattooing, because you know, the food here is amazing. You know, the sights here are amazing. There's so much to offer, and I think people really are blown away with how calm we are. You know, how chill the environment out here is. So I really think that having an event out here would be fantastic. So Visit Las Cruces would be involved for sure.
All right. Excellent. Hey, thanks for being on our podcast. We really appreciate it, Aaron. And again, tell everybody where your shop is.
Okay. Atombaum Studios located at 232 North Campo Street. It's on the corner of Las Cruces and Campo. Big gray building. White roses painted on it. For those of you who know, Iconic Records is our neighbor, you know, so if you've ever been to their red building, we just painted their mural too recently. So, you know, that's our little block. We love them as our neighbors. We love having the little area. And come find us, come see us. If we can do anything for you, we'd be happy to do it.
All right, we come to the end of our time together, Aaron, and I have a final question for you that we ask all of our guests.
Okay.
When you talk to somebody who's never been to Las Cruces or is not from here, what do you tell them is your favorite thing about our area?
I personally say the mountains.
Mountains, yeah.
The food here is
Yeah.
the closest second. Like,
Yeah,
it
your
could be
wife's
one or the
answer
other.
was food, and she was
Yeah,
quick. She
and-
was quick with the answer.
Yeah, and she's a phenomenal cook, so she is really tuned into what tastes good. But
Right.
for me, I think I'm such a visual person.
Right.
It's the mountains.
Yeah,
I
sure.
live and die by the mountains.
Yeah.
I think they're amazing.
They're probably our biggest aesthetic
They are.
thing here in town.
They are. I look at them every day,
Right.
Especially now with all the rain and the clouds and
Yeah.
everything, and the way they pull through the mountains.
Yeah.
It's like out of a movie. I
Right.
say all the time, we got Lord of the Rings mountains out here. Nobody knows it,
Aaron, thanks again for
Hey,
being our
thank
guest.
you.
We really
I
appreciate
appreciate
it. That's going to do it for another edition of Visit Las Cruces Live, the real New Mexico. You can get our podcast on most podcast apps. You can also listen online at visitlascruces.com. I'm Ed Carnathan. We'll see you next time right here on Visit Las Cruces Live, the real New Mexico.